All right, it is time for the children's story. So, kids, keep your eyes open. There are some adults there that like to make a contribution to our school. Then come on up to the front. All right, nice work, kids. Good job. So, I'm going to tell you a story. Now, I'm going to tell you the story about the first time that I got a spanking. Now, actually, I don't remember that far back. So, did I tell you that I lived in Iran for a while? My folks were missionaries there. And there's a word for mischievous children. It's called shaitune. Can you say shaitune? Well, do you know what the devil's name is? Shaitun. So you can get the idea of what shaitune means. A child who is kind of like the devil. And I might have been like that. I'm not going to tell you for sure, but I was about 6 months old. No, I don't remember that. But I've heard this story before. I was about 6 months old, and my parents were traveling. Now, this would have been in November of 1950. So this was in November, so it was cold, and they were traveling, and my folks didn't have a lot of money, so they were staying in a motel that didn't have very much heat, and it was very, very cold outside, and in the room that we were staying, it was very cold as well. And so they put me under these blankets to try to keep me warm, but I didn't want to be under blankets. I wanted to go play or do something. I don't know what was going on in my mind. And my dad would say, no, you're going to freeze to death. You need to stay under the blankets. And he would put me back underneath, and I would crawl out. I think I was pretty advanced to be crawling at age 6 months. But anyway, so I'm crawling out, and he puts me back underneath, and then he tries to get some sleep, and he looks over, and there I am crawling out again. He puts me back in. Finally, he gets maybe a little bit frustrated, and he gives me a spanking at 6 months old. I have friends who have never had spankings. That was only the first of many, I must say. However, the point of the story that I'm trying to make here is sometimes we get something in our minds that we want, and we don't care what other people think or what's going on. We just push for it. Like there's candy, and Mom has said you can have one piece of candy after you eat, right? And then I go and sneak in there and get candy when I'm not supposed to, just because I want it. That didn't turn out very well either, I tell you. But do you think that God wants us to be like that, or does he want us to obey? Obey. Is it hard to obey sometimes? Yeah, it is. Because we don't see the bigger picture all the time when we're little. But there's a verse in the Bible that says it's better to obey than to sacrifice. Do you know what that means? Back in the Old Testament times, if you'd made a mistake, you had to sacrifice an animal. And God says, I don't want you to be sacrificing. I want you to obey. So, this next week, in everything that you do, I want you to remember the story of little JD at 6 months old crawling out underneath the covers and having to get a spanking. All right, you can go back to your seats.
We'll now bring up the offering.